Hello and welcome. My name is Beverly Popak, and on behalf of the Office of Labor Standards Enforcement, OLSC, we welcome you to the 2024 Annual Reporting Form webinar for the Fair Chance Ordinance and the Healthcare Security Ordinance. Thank you for joining us. I know folks are still logging in. Materials and recording. A slide deck and a recording of this webinar will be posted on our website. This is the URL that you'll find this information. And moving along to our next slide, we have a chat box feature part of this WebEx webinar. If you haven't done so already, please look on the bottom right-hand side and you'll see a chat bubble. Please activate the chat box and you will be able to see public announcements and helpful information. We just dropped our URL in the chat box that I just shared, where you can find our recorded webinar as well as companion slides. And you can copy and paste the information from the chat box easily to your notepad. Questions and answers. We have a questions and answers box within WebEx here. Take a look at your bottom right-hand side. You'll see three little dots. Click on that, activate it, and you could send us questions during the presentation. Now, during the presentation, our staff will provide answers to your questions via the questions and answers box. If the question is not answered during the webinar, in the answer box, or perhaps your question is selected at the live session, we will email the answer to the email address you used for the registration to this webinar. If you don't want us to reply to that email address you use for registration, please indicate that information in your question, as well as maybe the most appropriate contact information. We'll contact you within the next 24 hours with answers. Now, some questions may require some more information, so you may be asked to contact us. We have a live question and answer sessions that's programmed into our webinar today. Our staff will answer select questions that you're going to put into that questions and answers box at the end of the Fair Chance Ordinance presentation, and then again at the end of the Healthcare Security Ordinance presentation. So you'll be able to get answers to your question, and then of course we will share contact information where you can just reach out to our staff to get more personalized service if needed. Today's presentation will be done by myself. I'm Beverly Popak. I'm the presenter for the Fair Chance Ordinance, as well as your host for the day, and Kevin Bruner, my colleague in the Healthcare Security Ordinance team, who will be presenting on the Healthcare Security Ordinance portion of the report. In the questions and answers box, we have Jade San Diego and Maura Prendeville, and Joyce Soro is staffing the chat box. Here's an overview of our presentation for this webinar. We're going to start off with an introduction, go through frequently asked questions, important information. Then number two, we're going to dive into the Fair Chance Ordinance reporting section of the annual report. We'll conclude the Fair Chance section with a live question and answer session, specifically for the introduction questions and the Fair Chance information. And then I'm going to hand it off to my colleague Kevin so that he can present on the Healthcare Security Ordinance section of the report. Then we'll conclude our webinar with a live question and answer session for the Healthcare Security Ordinance. So let's start it off with the introduction section. And I know some folks are still joining us, so I'm going to be a little repetitive. Please, if you haven't, open up the chat box and you will see some helpful information, URLs, and things that I think you'll find very helpful as we move along with this presentation. So the first question and important information we have to talk about is, when is the submission for this annual report due? If you're a covered employer, you're required to submit the 2024 Employer Annual Reporting Form, also known as the ARF. So we're going to be saying ARF a lot today, by May 2nd, 2025. So just submit it by May 2nd, 2025, and that is really when your submission is due. Um, Also, remember now, you're submitting information for the calendar year of 2024, January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. And that's the time frame you're submitting information. If you don't submit the employer annual reporting form and you are covered, meaning you have to do this by, the deadline, you may be subject to a penalty of $500 per quarter. Next question we get, which is a frequently asked question, is when can I access the ARF? So there's great news. I know publicly we say it's April 1st, we open it up, but we have a special opening, a soft launch, where we're going to open the ARF tomorrow, which is March 26, 2025 at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we're going to go through where you can access and do that. So it's tomorrow, March 26th at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So where can you find the form? How can you get started? And we have a lot of resources to empower you to really research and get prepared and feel comfortable and of course submit. This is the URL for where you can find the form and resources. And I'm going to show you what, of course, the form looks like and what our resources we offer. This is a overall summary snapshot of what that URL, what the page looks like. The due date, May 2nd here, is a reminder that, that is the due date. So please make your submissions by that date. And I'll show you a close-up of where you can submit your annual reporting form, but it's this, this blue button right here. At the very bottom of this page, we have resources, and the following pages that we'll go through in this presentation, I'll show you a little bit closer snapshots of what we have available for resources available to you. So this is a close snapshot of where you can click and start your reporting for the annual reporting form. Just click on that button to get started. And then at the very bottom, we have resources for you. So starting from the left-hand side, we have preview pages of the annual reporting form in PDF form of the whole report, which means the introductory questions, the FCO, and the HCSO components of the report. Now, if you just want to take a look at the FCO reporting pieces, you can look at this second bullet point. There's a PDF of just the annual reporting forms FCO portion. In the very center here, we have written instructions for you. The first bullet point, you can access the PDF, and then the second bullet point, you can look at the written instructions via a web page that's interactive, whichever you'd like. And then this third section here on the far right-hand side, this is where we will post in the near future this recording of the webinar, as well as the companion slides that you see here on the screen. So when will the video be available? It's going to be available no later than 24 hours from now, which is in the future, which is, let's see, March 26. So what will I need to complete the form? That's a question we always get asked. You should use the PDF copy of the ARF in the resource section to view all of the questions, gather the answers to the questions, and just prepare. Now remember that if you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. There are links on the live form to read along to help you understand and explain what the question is and perhaps some background information. So getting started, what do you also need? You need your 7-digit San Francisco business account number. Business account number, also known as your BAN, your BAN. Now, there's multiple ways to find your business account number. Number one, you can find your business account number on your business registration certificate, also known as your business license. This is issued by the San Francisco Treasurer and Tax Collector's Office. This is a distinct and different department from us. We are the Office of Labor Standards, and you would have received your certificate in the mail, and it would have been sent to, of course, the address you use to register your business. So if you have multiple locations, you don't know what we're saying about this certificate, you can ask your cohorts and colleagues in the other locations about this business registration certificate. But don't worry, there's other ways to find your business account number. Number two, you can search for your number in a database. We'll see what the database looks like. I'll give you a quick preview about that, but you could search by the ownership name as well as the doing business as name. The third way is that you will receive a letter from our office, the Office of Labor Standards Enforcement. It's going to arrive by April 1st with information about this report, as well as your 7-digit business account number. So those are multiple ways of finding your business account number. Now, there's some things to keep in mind. If your BAN, your business account number, is only 6 digits, add a 0 to the beginning of the number. We have this information on our form, but that's something you should keep in mind. Now, if you do not have a business account number and you know that you haven't registered your business, please visit the website of the Office of the Treasurer and Tax Collector's Office to register your business as soon as possible. You cannot submit a report without having this business account number, and our office does not issue, or we don't have any way of looking this up other than, of course, the database that we've shared with you, which is public information. So please go ahead and be proactive in registering your business, and we cannot grant any extensions for completing the form because your business has not obtained a business account number. Now, if you're a control group of multiple entities, all you need to keep in mind is that you can just submit one report for all of your entities, and you're going to enter a business account, a number for one of those entities. Now, if this is you, you need to be very organized and write down which business account number you're using, because just in case you need to resubmit, you made a mistake, you have to submit again, you're going to need to use the same business account number that you used to submit your report. Otherwise, the information would not be overwritten and it would come in as a second report. Which gets us to corrections and resubmissions. If you made a mistake on your ARF, don't worry, you can resubmit a corrected form. You have to remember that you must use the same business account number that you used when you originally submitted your report. So, as mentioned before, when you print out and you prepare, as you are filling out the report, please take note of what you are submitting into the system, including the business account number, because that's going to be super important. One of the things I need to tell you about corrections and resubmissions is that if you make a mistake, you're going to have to start over from the very beginning. The system is not that sophisticated where it could look up and pull up everything that you've submitted. And if you want to make one correction on one tiny item, you can just do that. So you're going to have to resubmit the whole report again. So as you go through this, be very diligent, pay attention, make notes, and yeah, you can correct it. You'll just have to start from the very beginning. Can you look up my submission or report? So the answer is no. The Office of Labor Standards Enforcement cannot look up your submission or report. So if that is something that you need and you're just confused about and you really think you made a mistake, or you can just resubmit and overwrite whatever you've submitted into the system. But of course, know the business account number that you've used. Some other helpful information. I cannot express to you how planning and preparing, taking the time to not only plan but record your answers is super important. So please block out some time to do this. And the second bullet point is that the form, this submission, can only be completed and submitted in the continental United States. So if you have multiple offices and folks are from outside of the United States want to complete this, they will not be able to. So please make the necessary arrangements, and you have until May 2nd, 2025 to submit. So there's plenty of time to make some arrangements. Now, with that said, let's go into the introduction questions and instructions as part of the annual reporting form. If you've joined us and you haven't done so, please open up your chat box. There's going to be some helpful public information, URLs and information shared there. And please open up your questions and answers box and submit a question if you do have one. Accessing the ARF. We have so many different ways to access this ARF. It's really great. Sometimes it's confusing, so I would say the first URL at the very top is the one that you want to start with. And I think you saw a preview of the button to start the report and the resources at the very bottom. But if you by chance do not have this URL, you can't find it, don't worry. You can find the ARF through the Fair Chance Ordinance webpage, as well as the Healthcare Security Ordinance webpage, and of course the Office of Labor Standards Enforcement website, and you can navigate from there. It'll be easy to find, you'll see. So the introduction page for the actual report. Do I have to fill out the ARF? I think some of you are here thinking, oh, wow, this is a requirement, but do I have to do this? If you fill out the introduction page of the ARF, the very first page, the system is sophisticated enough to tell you whether or not you have to fill it out. And if you don't have to fill it out, it will certainly tell you so and give you a message that you can screenshot and save for your records. Now, the system is also sophisticated enough to tell you that perhaps you're only covered by one of the ordinances, for example, the Fair Chance Ordinance. The system will only ask you to fill out information for Fair Chance Ordinance information. And you'll go to a quicker format or form. Now, if you're not covered by any of these laws and you see this in the system, that's great. You don't need to notify us. There's no other action that is required to do anything. I know that folks always like to do a screenshot and keep that for their records, and that's perfectly fine, but you don't have to share it with us. Now, this is a preview of what the introduction page looks like. It's okay if you can't see it completely. We have the PDF that you could see. I know some of you have joined on mobile devices, like little cell phones, so it might be hard to read. But there's only 4 questions, and just answer these four questions, and you will be told what you have to do next. The system is that sophisticated. So we're gonna take a look at what the message looks like if you're not required to file. This is what it looks like. You're not required to file a report, and this is what it might look like. It's really the gray portion here. And it's very simple. And as I said before, there is no need to report or send us this information. No other action is needed. Now let's take a look. Once you answer those 4 questions, if you don't see that you don't have to do anything, you don't have to report, most of you will get this screen, the Getting Started screen. And the system is saying, based on your answers to the introduction questions, you must complete the 2024 ARF. And here again, you have some live links to the instructions. You're going to have to, of course, put in that business account number that I've been talking about. And here is a link that you'll see to the San Francisco Data website where you can actually look up your business account number. Once you put in your business account number in this field, you click on this validate button. A business name will populate right here, and the system will ask you to confirm, is this your business? And you're gonna say, yeah, continue. Now this is a little sneak peek of what looking up your business account number may look like. If you click on that link, because you have to find your business account number by perhaps ownership name, DBA, this is what you really are looking for in the second column under business account number. Please make sure you are, of course, copying, selecting, using your business account number. That is super important. And when you enter it in, confirm, make sure that business name is indeed your name before you start your ARF. This is the next page. Your business account number, your business name, DBA, your address information will be populated in here. If this does not look like you, you should not go forward. Of course, if this is you, that's wonderful. And then for businesses who are filing on behalf of several entities, this particular field down here for business type is important to you because you're going to select here, click on this, check on this button or box if you're filing on behalf of several entities, meaning you're only going to fill out one report for all of the companies you have, which is great. So once you get to this screen, we are moving along to information about the Fair Chance Ordinance section of the report, questions and instructions. Now, some of you may be directed directly to the Healthcare Security Ordinance section of the report, and some of you may go directly to the Fair Chance Ordinance. For the sake of presentation of being efficient, I'm going to present on the Fair Chance Ordinance questions and instructions right now. So Fair Chance Ordinance, who's covered? This is really general information as if you fill out the introductory page on the ARF, you will know whether or not you're covered. But employers, if you are just operating in the city and county of San Francisco, meaning you're doing business in the city and county of San Francisco, perhaps you have someone who telecommutes from the city and county of San Francisco, and you have 5 employees or more anywhere in the world, you are covered under the Fair Chance Ordinance. This is a worldwide kind of count. So if you only have 2 employees in San Francisco, and then you have 100 elsewhere in the world, you are indeed covered. This employee count is not just specific to who's in San Francisco. Now, once you understand that, any position where the employee works or will work at least 8 hours a week in San Francisco is indeed covered under our Fair Chance Ordinance. And something of note that I would say here is that this is a local city and county of San Francisco ordinance. There is a state requirement which is very similar. That is the state of California that I'm talking about. So all of this should not be completely a surprise or different. Now, if you are a city and county of San Francisco contractor, you have to understand that you're covered and you'll have to report. And by contractor, we mean any person or persons, firm, partnership, corporation, or combination thereof who enters into a contract or property contract with the city and county of San Francisco. So something like a lease, a contract to provide services, or something like that. So if that's you, if you are of any size under 5, then you still have to report. But as I said, and I've said this before, fill out that introductory page on the ARF, and the system is smart enough to tell you whether or not you have to move forward with a report. Now, what if you're covered under the FCO, but not the Healthcare Security Ordinance? Do not worry. The system will know that and take you through it. But just as some background information, if you're a nonprofit with 20 to 49 employees, or perhaps a city contractor with less than 20 employees, you're covered under the Fair Chance Ordinance, but not under the Healthcare Security Ordinance, and you will be directed to fill out the report on the FCO section only. The system's that smart. Now, this is what the Fair Chance Ordinance report looks like. This is the first 4 questions. This is just kind of like a snapshot. And what I want to do is I want to take you through the questions and give you some possible answers and explain some things. So the first question, in 2024, and remember, we're only asking for what's happened in 2024, which is January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. How many employees did your company hire to work in San Francisco? You should include telecommuters, which also means that maybe they live in San Francisco. The covered employees are people who work in San Francisco at least 8 hours a week, and you need to include part-time, temporary, seasonal employees, as well as, of course, those telecommuters. Number 2, during 2024, did your company's employment application for jobs in San Francisco, and this also includes online applications, ask about arrest or conviction records? So the answer is yes or no, and it's either yes or no. So you should find out, and you're starting to see, if you're attending this webinar, that you alone may not have the answer to all of these questions, and you may have to engage your cohorts and colleagues to get answers before you actually submit a report. Number 3, in 2024, did your business conduct criminal background checks for any applicants before making a conditional offer of employment? The answer is yes or no. And I'll say this again. We're only asking you if you did that before making a conditional offer of employment. Question number 4. The Fair Chance Ordinance prohibits covered employers from ever considering any of the following. And there's a long list here. It's on our FCO webpage. It's going to be in the preview questions. It's on the ARF. I'm not going to read through all of this, but you should take a look at the preview questions as you plan your answer. We just want to know, in 2024, did your company inquire about any of the above? And the answer is yes or no. This is a screenshot of the last questions that composes the Fair Chance Ordinance section of the report, and let's go through it. So number 5, in 2024, did your company hire anyone with a conviction history? The possible answers yes, no, or I don't know. You select one. And then number 6, is your business exempt from any of the Fair Chance Ordinance provisions, either because you're required to conduct background checks under state or federal law, or because your employees are drivers or work with children, seniors, or disabled adults? And you probably would know that, yes or no, but there's also a little link here you can click for more information. If you click on all of this and you say, oh yes, I am exempt, this is what will pop up. It's a drop down where you can select which perhaps industry you're a part of, and that's why you have an exemption. Now, number 7. Now, I want to say you're only going to get this question if you do not have to submit the Healthcare Security Ordinance. So not everyone attending this webinar will see number 7. So this question says, what is the highest number of employees your business had in any quarter of 2024? So count all of the employees in the world. That means everyone outside of San Francisco and outside of the United States. And then you're just going to select from the drop-down menu here, and That is basically it. This is the contact information for the Fair Chance Ordinance Unit. If you want some more information about the Fair Chance Ordinance, this webpage is the best place. We also have recorded webinars about the Fair Chance Ordinance, and we have a direct email just asking questions about the Fair Chance Ordinance. This is also the URL to the Office of Labor Standards Enforcement website. Now, if you have any questions about the ARF, the report, and you want to speak to someone, you can call this number here, or you can email this email address here. Now, mind you, I would not do both. Just pick one, and it's going to be most efficient for our staff if we just get one inquiry from you, and we will return your call or, of course, email you back. So please email us or call us if you have any questions about the ARF. Now, this brings us to our live question and answer session regarding the Fair Chance Ordinance and perhaps the introductory questions. My colleague Jade San Diego, who's been working in the questions and answers box, have selected some questions for us to go through and talk about some answers.
Yes, thank you, Beverly. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we received a lot of questions. So again, if we don't get to your question, we will respond to you via email to the email address that you used for registration. The first question we have, if we have employees that live and primarily work outside of San Francisco, but go into SF periodically to work, do we need to file?
Yeah, so if someone's working in San Francisco at least 8 hours a week, they're covered. So you're going to have to file.
And then if we have a subsidiary company, do we need to report on that company if it's not based in San Francisco, but we do have employees working in San Francisco?
Yes. So it's very important to understand that we want to know how many employees you have everywhere in the world, and that means counting everyone that's part of maybe your control group and subsidiaries. However, for reporting the information for the Fair Chance Ordinance, for the ARF, and things like that, we're only interested in the employees that are working in San Francisco. So just keep that in mind. You're going to have to parse out information that's only relevant for people working in San Francisco, or perhaps maybe the job announcement that you may have for positions in San Francisco.
Thank you. For this one, this is for the ARF. This is an ARF question for specifically for FCO. It's question number 1. The number of employees hired. There's a lot of questions on this. This is they want to confirm if this is just the number of employees hired in 2024 and not the total employees working in San Francisco during 2024.
Okay, so let me let me see. So let me read back the first question. So question number 1 for the Fair Chance Ordinance is in 2024, how many employees did your company hire to work in San Francisco? So we only want to know, who did you hire? How many did you hire to work in San Francisco? We don't want to know how many employees your company hired in the entire world or in California. So again, we're just interested in how many employees your company hired to work in San Francisco in 2024. And 2024 is defined as January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024, last year.
Thank you. And that leads us to another question. So what is for question number 7, what is the highest number of employees your business had in any quarter of 2024? They want to make sure that this is total employee count or only an SF. So is this a global count or just an SF?
Right. So for question number 7, hold on one second. Let me look at the exact question there. What is the highest number of employees your business had in any quarter of 2024? Um, you will answer this based upon the number of employees you have worldwide. So this one is a worldwide question in which you will figure out your answer. And actually, it's a kind of a drop down, drop down answer.
Okay, thank you. This next one, this is specific to Fair Chance Ordinance. What if you mention a background check in a job posting? Does that constitute a yes to that question? And it's not a link to check. They're just mentioning the background check.
Okay. Let me see. I think that one is relevant to question number 3 in Fair Chance. It says, so this is what the question says, folks. In 2024, did your business conduct criminal background checks for any applicants before making a conditional offer of employment? Um, the question just asking if the posting, the job posting has information about criminal background checks, right, Jade? Is that what it's
Yes,
saying?
if you mention that they have to do a background check during the on the job posting, yes.
Yeah, so if you just mention in the job posting that you may have to participate in a criminal background check, that would not constitute a yes for that particular answer for question number 3. I mean, the question number 3 is asking, did you conduct it? It's not, did you ever post it or put it into your job posting? Does it answer that one, Jade?
Yes,
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
And I think we have time for one more before we hand it off to Kevin.
Okay, this one I think is pretty easy. If we get started filling out the report, can we exit out and return? Does it save our progress or do we just start over?
Yes, so folks, our system is very simple. It'll ask you for your business account number, and if you don't make it to the end, you just decide to exit out, nothing will be submitted. You'll just have to start over from the very beginning. That's why we share with you that you should plan ahead, research your answers, and as you're answering, please make note of what the answers you actually submit into the system, just in case you have to resubmit or perhaps start over. And let's see. So, folks, that's all the time we have for the FCO questions. Thank you, Jade, for those questions. So, folks, if you haven't already, please open up your questions and answers box as well as your chat box. I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Kevin Bruner. Who will present on the HCSO portion of the annual reporting form. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Beverly. So my name is Kevin Bruner. I work for the Office of Labor Standards Enforcement on the Healthcare Security Ordinance team. And, that's my big responsibility, making sure people comply with the Healthcare Security Ordinance. And I'm going to go over the portion of the Healthcare Security Ordinance that you have to fill out on the annual reporting form. One thing to know about the Healthcare Security Ordinance, questions on the annual reporting form and the Healthcare Security Ordinance in general, is that it only applies to companies that have 20 or more employees working for them anywhere in the world. So if your global employee count is less than 20 and you've never had over 20 employees, then you're not going to have to answer the questions on the Healthcare Security Ordinance or comply with the Healthcare Security Ordinance in general. So you may not need to participate in this part of the webinar if you do not want to. So who is covered by the Healthcare Security Ordinance? The Healthcare Security Ordinance applies to any employer who is a for-profit employer who has 20 or more workers working for them anywhere in the world. This is not just your San Francisco workforce when we're counting this. This is your total global employee count, right? You can have 1,000 workers working in Europe and one employee working in San Francisco, and you may be covered by the Healthcare Security Ordinance. If you are a nonprofit company, you have to have 50 or more workers working for you anywhere in the world to be covered by the Healthcare Security Ordinance. And the healthcare security ordinance is pretty straightforward in what it requires. It requires that you spend a certain amount of money on your employees' healthcare for every payable hour that those employees have. If both you as the company are covered by the healthcare security ordinance and the employee is covered by the healthcare security ordinance. The second obligation that the HCSO has is it requires you to fill out the annual reporting form, which we are going over today and getting ready to do in the next few days to start that process. So the big picture of the annual reporting form, you've got to this point, you're getting ready to fill out the annual reporting form coming at the beginning of April. So you should already be familiar with the healthcare security ordinance. You should already be complying with the healthcare security ordinance. And you should know how the ins and outs of the healthcare security ordinance and how to go about complying with it and what your general responsibilities are. If this is the first time you're really hearing about this law and this annual reporting process, or you need a refresher about how to comply with the law, then you should sign up for one of our webinars. You can click on that link and sign up for the next webinar. We do them monthly. Or you can contact our office or read up on our website about the healthcare security ordinance, and I'll give you some information on where to find that in the next couple of slides. But like I say, you should have already complied with the healthcare security ordinance, right? This annual reporting form is looking at what you did in 2024. You should be in compliance with the healthcare security ordinance for 2024. If you find out or you realize that you have not complied with the HCSO in 2024, you should reach out to our office and figure out how to get back into compliance. So I just want to point out that when we get to this point and we're filling out the form, you should know how you complied with the healthcare security ordinance. You should know how many employees you have working in the city, what you spent on their healthcare, and what type of healthcare expenditures you made. Our office doesn't know how you complied with the HCSO. We don't know how you spent the required amount of money. We don't know if you have a city option account. Our office does not run the city option, so we don't know the amounts you may have spent there. This is all information you should know, you should have available for yourself, and you will need for filling out the annual reporting form. And just another reminder that the deadline for the annual reporting form is going to be May 2nd, 2025. So here are some resources about where to find information about the annual reporting form and the healthcare security in general. The link at the top will take you to the annual reporting form page. It will have instructions on how to fill out the form, and most importantly, a PDF preview of the full form. This is very important, something you should look at before you get ready to fill out the form, because it will have all the questions you have to answer and point out which information you are going to need to complete the form. The second link is to the Healthcare Security Ordinance page of our Office of Labor Standards Enforcement website. You can find our administrative guidance and the rules and regulations about the HCSO on that web page, and read through that if you're not quite familiar with the HCSO or you need a refresher on how to comply. And you can also call us or email us at the information here. We're very responsive on email and our phone, and we can talk you through any situations you have about how to comply with the HCSO or how to fill out the annual reporting form. So before you begin, you're going to need to gather up all the information that you need. And this is where the PDF preview is going to come into play. Like Beverly explained earlier, you cannot save the annual reporting form once you start to fill it out and then come back to it later. You need to complete it all in one sitting. So we highly recommend that you go onto our website, you download the PDF preview, and you look through all the questions and figure out how to answer them and what information you're going to need to provide us in order to do that, and prepare your answers in advance so that when you sit down to answer the annual reporting form, you have the information and you can just plug it in and do it quickly and do it all in one sitting. Something to point out about the annual reporting form is that if you are trying to fill it out from outside of the United States, you will not be able to. If your office is in Canada and the person trying to submit the annual reporting form happens to be in Canada or some other country, and you're trying to complete the annual reporting form, you will not be able to. You will need to find someone in the continental US who can fill out the form for you. Go online and fill out the form. You will not be able to fill it out from outside the United States. So what information will you need? And some of this Beverly has already gone over in detail, but you will need your SF business account number. That you will not be able to access the form and start that without the business account number. If you need to get that, you can get it from the Treasurer and Tax Collector's Office, and I will show you where shortly. You will need to know the number of employees who worked in San Francisco for your company, right? The Healthcare Security Ordinance is going to apply to employees who work 8 hours or more in San Francisco on average. You're going to need to know that number. And this is going to include remote workers, right? If you have workers who are working from home and their home is in San Francisco, those employees are going to be considered employees who work in San Francisco and are going to have to be included as people who are going to be covered by the Healthcare Security Ordinance, right? So any remote workers working in the city of San Francisco. And just for clarification, the Healthcare Security Ordinance applies to people who work in San Francisco. They say the city and county of San Francisco. The city and county of San Francisco are exactly the same borders. So if the address someone is working from is not a San Francisco address, then they don't need to be included, as they won't be covered by the Healthcare Security Ordinance. We get this question a lot. South San Francisco is a separate city. This law applies only to people who work in the city of San Francisco. No other cities in the Bay Area are going to be included. Additionally, you will need to know the type of healthcare expenditures you made for the San Francisco employees last year. Whether that's health insurance, whether it's fully funded health insurance or self-funded health insurance, you're going to need to know how much you as the employer spent on those employees' health care. That counts also for dental and vision insurance. You're going to need to know that. If you made contributions to the city option program, you're going to need to know how much you contributed for your total San Francisco employees to the city option. So the getting started page, I know Beverly went through some of this, but when you go to fill out the form, you're going to need your business account number. We do not have that. You will need to find that, and you can see the link here where it says registered business locations, San Francisco. That's Open Data SF. You can click on that link and you will be able to find your company and your business account number that goes along with it. The business account number needs to be 7 digits. If you look at your business account number and it only has 6 digits, put a 0 in front so that it's 7 digits. Or if you only enter 6 digits into the annual reporting form, it will not allow you to advance. It will think you do not have a proper business account number. If you get to this point and you're ready to fill out the annual reporting form and you realize you do not have a business account number, you need to contact the Treasurer and Tax Collector's Office. You can go onto their website, the link there at the bottom of the page, and you can register your business online. I don't think it takes very long for you to register your business, but our office does not do the business registration. We can't complete that for you. You need to go onto the Treasurer and Tax Collector's website, and you can get a business account number if needed. So when you fill in your business account number. You're going to see the name and address information coming up. The certificate number is going to already pop up. The registered name is going to pop up that's linked to your business account number. And you will have to fill in the DBA name and your mailing address. And a key here is some people may be filing an annual reporting form for more than one business at a time, right? If you have a control group of corporations and you want to file on behalf of all of them, you can do that at once. If you select on this page, there's going to be a little box to check that you're filing for a control group of corporations, and you can enter all those business account numbers and file for them all together rather than having to do them separately. So you're going to have to report on your business size, and I know Beverly talked about this a little bit before, each quarter, right? Again, this is the number of employees in your total worldwide workforce, not just your San Francisco employees, right? If you have less than 20 employees working for you anywhere in the world, you will not have to fill out the healthcare security ordinance portion. But if you have more than 20, you will. You will have these 4 categories to pick the one that applies to your company, and you have to do it for each quarter. Your business size may change depending on quarter and whether your employees fluctuate. So you can just pick the one that is most representative of your company and fill that in. Right, like we say, how do you figure out what your business size is, right? It's how many people worked for your business in each quarter of 2024. Like I say again, and I want to make this crystal clear because we do get this question quite often. It is your global, worldwide total employee count. It does not matter whether they work in San Francisco. It doesn't matter if they work in China, India, Europe, Canada. They are all included in that business size. Again, and it includes all persons regarding their status, right? If they're full-time employees, if they're part-time employees, if they're temporary employees, if they are contractors, you still have to count all those people. For some companies, the number of employees may fluctuate up and down, may not be steady. You want to know sort of how many employees to list during a given quarter. If your number of employees regularly rotates or fluctuates, you can take the quarterly, weekly average to determine how many employees you have. The quarter is 13 weeks, right? You could take the total number of employees you had during that quarter divided by the 13 weeks, and it'll give you your weekly average number of employees. So then once you move on from that, you're going to get a question about which employees are covered by the healthcare security ordinance. And this is going to be different, right? This is a subset of your total employee count. These are going to be the employees for which the healthcare security ordinance applies. So what does that mean to be covered by the HCSO? Right? This is how many of your employees worked in San Francisco and are entitled to a healthcare contribution under the healthcare security ordinance for each quarter of 2024. To be covered by the HCSO, an employee needs to work at least 8 hours per week on average within the city of San Francisco during a given quarter. Right, so it's very part-time employees will count. They only have to work 8 hours per week within San Francisco. You may have employees that sometimes work in San Francisco, sometimes work other places, so you're going to have to figure out whether they're going to be covered by the HCSO and whether they meet that 8 hour per week average of working in San Francisco. An employee also to be covered by the healthcare security ordinance needs to be employed by your company for 90 calendar days, right? So the first day of work, the first 90 days they're employed by your company, they're not going to be covered by the HCSO, but after 90 days they will be they will be covered by the HCSO. There are some exemptions. We're not really going to get into a lot of them today, but if an employee is a manager or supervisor and they make over a certain threshold, they can be exempt. But generally, nearly all or all of your San Francisco employees will be covered by the HCSO because the threshold of working in San Francisco is so low at 8 hours per week. So the majority of your San Francisco employees, or almost all of them, are going to be covered by the HCSO. So you need to figure out how many employees you have that are covered by the Healthcare Security Ordinance, and you will put them into that box that you saw on the previous slide. So the next slide is going to be your total healthcare expenditure. This is pretty simple. You don't need to break it out by type of healthcare expenditure. This is total, whether it's health insurance, vision insurance, dental insurance, or a city option contribution, or you put the money into a medical reimbursement account, you will just total it up and put it into those boxes at the top for each quarter of the year. Right, like you said, it's the combined quarterly total spent on all employees for all your San Francisco employees for their types of healthcare expenditures. Doesn't matter what those expenditures are. There's no need to separate them out. There is one thing: if your insurance plans are not fully funded, but they are self-funded, there's a separate calculation that you have to do for self-funded insurance plans to get sort of an hourly rate for those plans. And what you will do is, if you, on that previous slide, you will check the self-funded insurance box, and then you will write your hourly calculation into the little box next to the other. So we have some questions on the annual reporting form about surcharges. And I'll go over what a surcharge is. Not everybody has a surcharge. Mostly it tends to be restaurants that have surcharge, but a surcharge is a fee you are charging your customers to help you comply with the healthcare security ordinance. I'm sure a lot of people have gone to restaurants in San Francisco and seen on the receipt where it says, 5% additional for SF mandates or HCSO compliance or something like that. That will be a surcharge. You will have to fill out this form. If you don't have a surcharge, you will just click no and go on to the next. If you do provide a surcharge for your customers, you will have to figure out how much you did collect based on that surcharge and put that into the box on this page, as well as the language you use on your bills and your surcharge that you present to your customers. So I guess that's what this slide is saying. Did you impose a surcharge on your customers at any time? It's pretty simple. No, you move on. If yes, you have to answer the additional information, right? Particularly the language used on your menu or receipts, like healthy SF fee, employer mandates, HCSO charge, whatever it is that you link to that surcharge, you will have to state and enter into the annual reporting form. And then you will get to the end and you will have to certify that you have filled this out correctly and that you're the authorized representative, and you'll have to submit it under penalty of perjury, put your name, title, phone number, email address, and then submit it. And then you will be done with it. If you figure out that you made a mistake at some point, even after you submit it, you thinking about it and you go, oh, wait, I only listed 10 San Francisco employees when really I have 30. That's fine. It's no big deal. All you have to do is go back in, refile the form, and your latest submission will just supersede what you submitted before. So you can't edit a submission you put in, but if you just fill out the annual reporting form again, it will basically overwrite whatever you did the last time. So if you make a mistake and you realize you get to the end and you've made a mistake, no big deal. Just go back, do it again with the correct information, and that will be what we will see. Yeah, troubleshooting. Like I just said, if you make a mistake, you can resubmit the form, but not edit it. It's pretty simple. Just go back, do it again. More importantly, though, if you do realize in this process that you are out of compliance, that you have not been spending the required amount of money on your employees' health care that is required by the HCSO, please contact our office at our email address or telephone number that was on the previous slide, and talk to us about how to get back into compliance. We're happy to help you figure out how to get into compliance and fix your past non-compliance, and not have any penalties or interest that affect you. And here's the information again. If you need to talk to somebody like myself about how to go about filling out the annual reporting form or general compliance issues with the HCSO, please call our office or email us. We staff our phones and answer questions as soon as we get them. We're very, very responsive, and we will get to your concerns and questions very quickly, and get you the answers you need to move forward with this process. So please feel free to give us a call or email us, and we will do our best to get you straightened out. Or I can't hear you.
So, folks, while Maura is trying to get her mic working, just want to thank you for attending, but we're going to have our HCSO question and answer session. Just as a reminder, I know we've been repetitive about this, but we're still getting a lot of questions in the questions and answers box. The recording of this video, as well as companion slides, will be available on our website within 24 hours, maybe even sooner. And then you can access the ARF and resources tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard at the URL that we shared. So let's try it. Do we have Maura able to ask some questions?
Yeah, we have some questions to answer. The first question was about how do you define who is a remote worker? Generally, a remote worker is somebody who works from their house rather than their office. For HCSO purposes, if that house is in the city of San Francisco and the person is working from their home in the city of San Francisco, they will be considered a San Francisco employee, even if normally they would work from their office in some other city, or the company doesn't even have offices in San Francisco, but their offices are in some other city. If a person is working remotely from their home in San Francisco, they are going to be a San Francisco employee. Got it. So the second question is about how to handle employees who are part of a union and for which maybe you pay into a union health and welfare trust fund. The amount of money you pay into a union health and welfare trust fund can be used as an HCSO expenditure to meet the expenditure requirement, and it will be something you need to report on the annual reporting form. In that slide where you list how much total you spent by quarter and the different ways to spend it, there is a little box that says Taft-Hartley Union Fund or something like that. Those are that you would click that box if you pay into a union health and welfare trust fund account. So the question is if the company is self-insured or if they provide free health insurance to their employees, do they still need to fill out the annual reporting form? And the answer to that question is yes, absolutely. Those are ways to meet the healthcare expenditure requirements of the HCSO, but they are things you will have to report. If you have a self-funded health insurance plan, you should have calculated how much your hourly expenditure rate is, and you will need to fill that in on the page where you list the total healthcare expenditures and the different methods by which you spent that money. There is one for self-funded plans that will open up a little dialog box, and you will need to put the hourly rate for that self-funded plan in that box. Any money you spend on health insurance, whether you're providing 100% of the premiums or 75% or whatever employer percentage of the premiums that you pay, you will need to report that on your annual reporting form. So the next question is, if you fill out the report and you do not receive the confirmation email, what should you do? Either you can submit the report again, and hopefully you will get the confirmation email, in which case your problem will be solved, or you can reach out to our office and ask us to confirm whether you did in fact get the confirmation. Maybe the email address was incorrect. Sometimes our system does not send the confirmation emails, even though we got your file. We can check on that. I would give it a day or two because sometimes the information getting back to us about the filings and who filed takes a little time to process before we can look at it. But yes, I would try to file again if you don't get the confirmation email, or if you continue to not get the confirmation email, contact our office at either our phone line or our email, and we will try to figure out what the problem is. And the last question is, if you did not spend enough to comply with the healthcare security ordinance, what should you do? And the answer to that question is you should contact our office and speak to either me or one of my coworkers about where you fell short, how come you fell short, and try to figure out how to get you back into compliance, how to fix your past non-compliance without having any penalties or anything attached, and how to make sure that you comply going forward. If you find in this process that you have not been fully in compliance with the healthcare security ordinance, please reach out to our office and we will help you fix that problem. And that is all the questions. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin, Maura, Jade, Joyce, all of the staff that made this possible from the Office of Labor Standards Enforcement. We want to thank you for being proactive in understanding the ARF, how to fill it out, and some best practices. Please, you're welcome to contact us. If you have any other questions, there were about 200 questions asked today. And very pleased to say that during the presentation, we answered a majority, almost all of the questions. If we didn't answer your question, we will contact you at the email address that you used to register for this webinar. And we'll do that within the next 24 hours. And as mentioned before, a copy of this recorded webinar, as well as the companion slides, will be available on our website in the next 24 hours. So thank you so much for attending this webinar, and hope to hear from you soon. Take care. Bye.